Darwin, estamos trayendo para acá para que tú escuches lo que está pasando en el caso y sepas todo lo que está pasando. ¿Cómo? No, más para que escuches.
¿Puedo hacer la defensa?
No, ahorita vamos a hablar con el juez, nomás.
Yo lo voy a interpretar. Yo lo voy a interpretar.
Good morning, Mr.
Mira al frente.
Darwin Morales.
Good morning, Mr. Morales.
Señor Morales.
Buenos días.
Good morning.
You were charged with unlawful restraint. You were facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. I don't know anything about your case.
Caso.
So we are going to do probable cause now.
Ahorita.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
Officers were dispatched to a residence in Harris County, Texas, in response to a disturbance. Upon arrival, officers spoke to complainant witness who told them that her and the defendant recently ended their relationship.
Acaban de terminar su relación recientemente.
The complainant had been at work earlier that day when the defendant showed up and grabbed her wrist and forced her to leave by pulling her into his car. Complainant told officers the defendant took her to his apartment and would not allow her to leave his room. A witness, the defendant's roommate, eventually told both the complainant and the defendant to leave. While standing outside, the complainant called her friend to pick her up when the defendant again grabbed her by the wrist and began trying to get her to go with him against her will. Complainant told defendant multiple times to let her go, and the defendant refused. Complainant then hit defendant with her phone to try to get him to let go. Complainant's friend then arrived and was able to intervene. Defendant admitted to the officers that he would not let complainant leave the apartment.
Okay. Mr. Morales, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. Your lawyer is now asking for me to reduce your bond. What I see, though, is that there is an immigration detainer now. So even if I lower the bond, you are unable to get out on bond due to the immigration detainer. So there is still a possibility, but you will need to have a lawyer go work with immigration to be able to get you an immigration bond. One of my fears is that if we give you a PR bond now, or you bond out now, it's very possible that they ship you right then and there to immigration without having resolved this case, and that creates more of a headache for you. But I don't know.
Judge,
Please.
if I may, just on the issue of probable cause, we have statements from the officer, a report from the officer, a statement of a witness who doesn't say he saw what happened. He just says he told them to leave. At that point, it's a he said, she said kind of thing between my client and the complaining witness. We have the complaining witness here to actually say what happened, why he was arrested that day, I don't know. She is here saying that it was a mistake. She is here saying that he didn't do anything. That should at least put this case on alert that there's issues in this case and that he should be allowed to fight this. There's a great chance of fighting this because the complaining witness is here saying these things. Him being incarcerated while waiting to fight this is oppressive to him. He's got no criminal history. The allegations sound horrible, but plain witness is here to testify. She's not testifying, but to state what happened that day, and she's stating that what happened was wrong. That being the case, I would ask for a PR bond, especially when she's saying nothing happened, and he'd be allowed to get out and fight his case. Now, the issue regarding immigration is he's got no criminal history. Once he gets over there, once he can be held there until his hearing. Two, he could also possibly be let out on a bond over there. He has a hearing. He's got some status for being here. He came in and has a.
Is he a doctor or?
He doesn't have a docket. He came in, availed himself to the authorities. it's upcoming. I can pull it up, but he's got an actual hearing date
Tiene una audiencia, una
in the
fecha de
future,
audiencia en el futuro para
to look for relief.
tratar de
So he gets a date once he comes
tiene
in.
una fecha cuando ya él entra.
They're
Is
arguing that
is
he has no
Están
status for
argumentando de
being
que no
here.
tiene
His
estado de
court hearing
ser
is
tiene
at
una
date in the
audiencia.
future.
yeah,
He's
this
got-
is gonna throw a wrench into that.
Yes, but he's got a right to,
Él tiene
I mean,
derecho de.
this case is kind of iffy already. He found probable cause. Him being held while awaiting a resolution is not a benefit to him, especially when she's here saying it didn't happen.
Response?
But Judge, I know that, I mean, we all know that victims of domestic violence often recant. So it doesn't surprise me that she's here saying that. But the police recalled, the police spoke to her, and at that time, this is what she told the police. She said what happened. We don't have any evidence other than an OR, but I'm gonna oppose lowering the bond. I think it's a safety issue for her and a community.
Was there a 911 tape?
¿Había una llamada del 911?
Because not only do you have her statement, but you also have another you said you had a witness as
Yes,
well,
sir.
right?
So a 911 call was made. We don't have it. Trying to see if she did it. Who the reportee was.
I certainly think that the $20,000 bond is a bit high, and I'm willing to go down on that. I'm not going to grant him a PR bond because I don't think that would, well, I don't think that with the immigration detainer now, I don't know if that's, I am going to order you now, Mr. Morales, I want you to listen. Now's not the time for that. You can do that later, but here I want you to listen what's going on so you know what's happening. I don't want you to have contact with this person now. Understand, every phone call that you make is recorded. Every piece of mail that you take out, give in, it's looked at. So just be careful.
Judge, if I may, you're ordering no contact in this case between him and the complainant witness.
Sure.
She's here stating that.
I don't know that. They've not been able to rip her, you know. I understand.
Well, we did have a prosecutor speak to her in person today, a Spanish-speaking prosecutor. And he is, you know, she is recanting. She is saying that it did not happen. And I also will say the witness, the room, I believe it's the roommate, is the one who called the police. And he told officers that he came outside and witnessed the defendant holding the complainant by the neck. And that's when he called the police and was able to.
But the witness saw him hold her by the neck.
Yes, that's what the witness told the officers and the officer.
So
Do you want him to still have contact with her?
I don't think contact would be appropriate in this case, Judge.
My only fear is that
can we hear from the complaining witness to see what she wants?
probable cause hearing.
It's also you're imposing conditions, bond conditions. You have the authority to hear her out and see what she
I
wants.
have an unlawful restraint. I've got him grabbing, holding her hostage. We've got a witness. We also have a witness that sees his hands around her throat. I understand that, you know, time heals wounds and people recant, but, you know,
That's one possibility. It's also possible that this didn't happen. We're assuming that this happened because he was arrested. She's here stating different. I would just ask that you hear her out and see what she wishes.
that's what we have trials for, Ricardo. I'm not going to change my position of probable cause now, you know. My only what we're doing at this point in time, what conditions do we impose, if any?
He's already under a MOA and a no contact.
Let me see, is he?
She's here stating she doesn't want that. That's why she came. So this is her second time being here to try to get this lifted.
What do you think, Morgan, about lifting the no contact? I mean, I'm not going to take the protective order off because it's stuff he shouldn't do anyways, right?
No,
But my
Judge,
concern is about the no contact.
no, I understand that she's here. And like I said, we spoke to her, but it's still the fact of the matter, we haven't been able to review any of the evidence. All we have is this, what she said then, and what she said now.
She wants to have contact. Do you know if she wants to have contact with him?
She does. She told our prosecutor.
She wants, then I'll allow a contact. So there is a protective order that's in place now. The only thing I'm going to take off at this time is that you cannot have contact with her. You can have contact with her, but remember, no threatening, no harassing contact. I'm just telling you now, what is threatening or harassing doesn't matter what you think. It's what other people perceive. Listening. It's what people perceive.
Y la otra persona me robó mi pertenencia, tiene todo, no le quiere dar nada, tiene mi cama, mi televisor, todo porque es gay y no quiere que yo esté con mi esposa que viene conmigo desde Venezuela. Venimos pasando 3 meses de frío, hambre, para que venga otra persona que no nos conoce a meterme acá por algo que yo no hice. Ahí está mi esposa, la policía la revisó ese día, le hizo subir la camisa, le revisó el cuello y ella no tenía nada.
Más despacio. So I don't know. Carter doesn't know. Morgan doesn't know. That's why we have evidence. The evidence will point to whose side is correct. There's 911 calls. There are body cams. Those will shed light on what happened. The 911 is a great piece of evidence that will show what happened. There are voices that will show the stress of the excitement and show what happened. Likewise with
La persona que llamó fue gay y solo quiere estar conmigo, por eso me tiene acá. A mí no me gustan los hombres, me gustan las mujeres.
Suficiente.
That you like women.
Es que yo soy inocente, yo no hice nada. Ahí está mi esposa diciendo de que yo no le hice nada. Venimos desde Venezuela.
Suficiente, Darwin.
So to understand is that the evidence will point to whose side is correct. I know you're saying one thing, but we got to wait to look at the evidence and then we'll go from there.
Judge, if I'm, well, I'll let you go ahead and,
About the bond, 5? I know that it's 20 now, 20's high, you know.
I'll defer to you, Judge. on the call.
What reduce it to 5?
5,000? He can't afford that, Judge. He can't afford that. He's new to the country. He has a hearing set. He was sharing a room with his wife at this location. He can't, that bond amount would not.
Okay.
He can't.
Well, what scares me is that, like if he bonds out and then they ship it to immigration, and then they end up either deporting or doing something like that, we want him to be able to resolve this first before that happens, because that could be an even bigger mess in the long run. I don't want to be short-sighted, you know.
Estoy con migración y ellos me dan unos papeles para yo estar acá. Estoy seguro de que ellos no me deportarán.
I'm sure they wouldn't deport me.
Judge, if I may. Judge, his biggest concern right now is being incarcerated. That's on the forefront. Him getting to immigration, he will fight 100% once he gets there. Right now, his biggest concern is getting out of jail. If we look at that in this context, my case does not get better. It will not get better than what I have right now. I have a complaining witness recanting, stating that this did not happen.
I don't necessarily know. Maybe the 911 tape will show anything, you know, which would be good for you. You know, you never know.
I don't need to wait on the prosecution to do anything. I have what I need to go to trial just with her. How quickly can we get to trial on this case?
We don't have any evidence in here, like at all.
I have
My
to give
client
him,
is sitting in jail while we have no
I
evidence.
gotta give him at least 30 days. And then after that, I'll set you for trial.
Here's the argument, Judge, they can talk all the time they want, but my client is the person sitting in there, the resolution would be, give them a PR bond, so they can have all the time they want.
I'm not gonna give them a PR bond, okay?
Understood.
We'll try to resolve the case as quick as we can. I understand that you're in custody. There's certain rules that we have to follow. I have to be fair to counsel. I also have to be fair to the state.
Pero es que yo no hice nada. Ahí está mi esposa diciendo que yo no hice nada porque yo no hice nada. Yo soy inocente. Yo no hice nada. Solo quiero salir de este lugar. La estoy pasando muy mal. Yo no hice nada. Yo soy inocente. 100% inocente. Y ahí está mi esposa porque no la dejan hablar. Y que ella declare cómo sucedieron las cosas.
We'll try to get to you as quick as we can, I promise. Okay, it's got to be at least 30 days. After that, we'll set your case for trial and we'll fast track it and get it resolved.
¿Pago la fianza de 5,000 me iría a migración o no?
And if I pay the $5,000 bond, I would go to
What
immigration.
I would talk to your lawyer. You can always go to immigration, ask for an immigration bond. If that happens, then we can talk here. Okay, but you also have that issue as well, and that's a big one. You know, if you get an immigration bond and they let you out an immigration bond, come back and we can talk. It routinely happens here that people are given immigration bonds, they pay it, they have that part of the relief done. Once that happens, if it happens, come back and we can talk.
Es que yo entré con migración legal. Yo me entregué a migración.
I came in
Migración me
through
da unos
immigration
papeles.
legally.
Quiero salir de
Immigration
aquí
gave me
porque
papers. I
soy
want to leave from
inocente.
here
Yo no he
because
cometido
I'm
ningún
innocent.
I'm
I
going to
didn't
continue to
commit-
do this back and
No
forth.
vamos a continuar
Do
haciendo
what
esto.
needs to happen. I'll let you talk with Ricardo. We'll find you a solution. I promise. Okay, but I'm not going to continue to beat a dead horse.
Understood, Judge. So
Okay.
the bond amount, you said
5,000.
and the
Correct.
condition on the no contact, is he allowed to speak with her? Okay. It's both on the MOF and the no, and the bond
Ricardo.
conditions.
Advise your client. He seems, you know, it worked up about it. All the phone calls are recorded. Make a phone call and you are under the stress of the excitement. People tend to say things that they shouldn't. So all I'm saying is be careful. There are eyes and ears everywhere in this place. You understand? I understand that you're upset, but there's a certain protocol and a process that we follow. It happens to every single person. Keep that in mind when you're back over there. That's it.
Quisiera resaltar que yo no estoy molesto. Solo
I'd
me
like to
quiero ir de
mention
acá
I'm
porque
not
no
upset.
cometí ningún delito.
I just want to leave because I didn't
Y ahí
commit any
está mi
crime.
esposa que
And
quiere hablar
I
y
know
no la
this.
dejo.
My wife is here wanting to speak and they're not letting her.
All right. The last thing, Judge,
Okay.
he's got a right to a speedy trial. I would request a trial setting. I'm requesting a trial setting as soon as possible.
So, I think probably what, end of January, you know?
Hold on, sorry.
This is on Morales, Darwin,
Thank you, Your Honor.
for sure. So I'll let you guys work out whatever day that is. At least 30 days, remember. We have no juries as of the second week of December. So I need to give them at least 30 days. If you guys can work something out, I'm happy to give you whatever you guys can work out. If not, then I'll intervene at that
And the
point.
date we're talking about is an actual trial setting date. Correct. Okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
but I mean, it's gonna be, you know, at least 30 days. I mean, they don't have anything.
Understood.
I have to be fair to both sides.
And I have to request a speedy trial.
I understand, but I have to give them time to get evidence. You know how long it takes to get a 911 tape, right?
Yes, Your Honor, since this did just happen on the 19th, we need a lot more time.
Yeah, I know, and I'm down, and I get it. And I'm never gonna do anything to hamstring you guys. Likewise, I'm never gonna do anything to hamstring you guys, but I have to be fair to them too. So, I don't know. If you guys can work out a trial date, I'm happy to do it. If not, then come back, let me know, and we'll just pick some arbitrary date. No. Let's do this. Let's set it for, set it for Monday. Reach out to, at the minimum, your 911 dispatch. How long is it gonna take for you to get that? And then at least get some kind of timeline. I know that they're gonna be ranting and raving, but see how long it'll, you know, if we set it for trial, how long, you know? So let's come back Monday, okay? And then,
Judge, so the proper procedure on these kind of things is I can't acquiesce to a reset. I need to keep asking for a trial setting. And at that point, you do what you feels comfortable, but I can't agree to a reset. I'd ask for a trial setting.
see if you can agree with them.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Judge.
Joe.
Your Honor, I'm back